Why does the endless chase for wealth, perfect relationships, and the validation of strangers consistently leave us feeling hollow and trapped? We push ourselves to exhaustion, convinced that the next milestone will finally satisfy us, only to find the same emptiness waiting on the other side. This creates a paradox for the modern believer. We desire peace and spiritual breakthrough, yet we prioritize worldly anxieties the second we wake up. We check our messages and absorb the world's noise before we ever speak a word of prayer. We rely on our own immediate reactions and feelings to guide us, even though Jeremiah 17:9 warns that the human heart is deceptive. When we lean on these unstable emotions over God's direction, we effectively force God into the passenger seat while we steer our own lives into chaos. Jesus provided a direct instruction in Matthew 6:33 to break the cycle. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. This command places the kingdom at the top of the daily hierarchy, preceding every other pursuit. What exactly happens to your mind, your habits, and your reality if you make the radical, non-negotiable decision to put God first for 30 consecutive days? This 30-day challenge isn't about achieving religious perfection. It is a deliberate, daily surrender of the ego, intended to save you from the consequences of your own steering. The first milestone of these 30 days is a shift in your priorities. The need to impress others, the constant comparison on social media, and the pursuit of temporary status begin to lose their psychological grip. This mirrors the shift seen in the early disciples. Peter was once consumed by the demands of survival, and Matthew by the collection of taxes. Encountering Christ changed their focus from these temporary obsessions to a life of total devotion. This leads into the second stage, peace in chaos. We often mistakenly assume that biblical peace requires a perfectly organized, stress-free life. The wife of Daniel shows a different reality. Despite living in a corrupt culture, he maintained a strict rhythm of prioritizing God through prayer 3 times a day, even when that habit carried the threat of execution. Philippians 4:6-7 explains that when we bring our requests to God with thanksgiving, a peace that surpasses understanding guards our hearts and minds. The internal battles quiet down. You may still face unpaid bills or unanswered questions, but you are no longer carrying the weight of those burdens alone. Establishing God as the absolute, immovable center of your daily hierarchy produces a stability that remains even when the world around you is in turmoil. Reaching that peace requires moving through an uncomfortable third stage. When you prioritize God, hidden idols are brought to the surface. Look at this visual breakdown of a personal hierarchy. Modern idolatry is an internal misallocation of loyalty, where desires like money, career success, or the approval of others secretly outrank God for the top position in your life. The Gospel of Mark illustrates the cost of this misallocation through the story of the rich young ruler. He lived a morally upstanding life, but he walked away from Jesus in sorrow because he refused to dethrone his true God, his wealth. During these 30 days, God exposes unhealthy attachments, like a surgeon diagnosing a hidden disease. The diagnosis is painful, but this intervention is necessary for your spiritual health. This leads to the fourth stage, the muscle of faith. As God takes the top position in your heart, you begin to choose obedience, even when your emotions fluctuate. Mature faith operates like Abraham in the book of Hebrews. When God commanded him to leave his homeland, Abraham obeyed immediately, without knowing the destination or the full plan. Your own faith grows through these same repetitions: praying when you are tired, forgiving when you are hurt, and refusing to compromise when no one is watching builds spiritual resilience over time. The process of removing false guards is the mechanical requirement for building a faith that is stronger than your fears. Completing these 30 days shifts more than just a morning routine. According to 2 Corinthians 5:17, those who fully surrender to Christ become an entirely new creation, experiencing a change in their very nature. This is visible in the transformation of Saul. He was a violent persecutor of the early church, yet after encountering Christ, he became Paul, a man whose life and writings guided the spread of the gospel across nations. Over these 30 days, this internal alignment leads to tangible changes: a newfound patience with family, a break from long-standing selfish habits, and the strength to begin walking away from dependencies that once felt inescapable. The greatest miracle of this process is finally aligning with the identity God intended for you from the beginning. Matthew 6:33 serves as a direct invitation to experience life as God intended, with every priority falling into its rightful place. It is time to step out of the passenger seat. Claim this transformation today by commenting "I will put God first" below. To guide your daily walk, access the 30-day devotional journal through the link in the description and subscribe to Bible Fix for more biblical truth.